Hello, 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 hello. Gonna let people climb in here, let it warm up a little bit. I want to let people know this is a live Q&A. So unlike in other coaches' corners, this is going to have the ability for you to interact with me and ask me questions, which I strongly recommend. I will put my glasses on. Um, I would love it if somebody could tell me if they can hear me okay. I took the advice of a listener. Jim, thank you very much for letting me know about my inappropriate use or wrong way of using the Yeti mic. Hopefully this is coming through. If somebody could just send me there's Troy. I see you without my glasses, so that's good. All right, Troy. So I want to let everyone know as you come in and listen. I know it's the Major League All-Star game, so I'll try to be as brief as possible. But lots to discuss. Okay, all right, London, Greg, Matt. Okay, hey, Matt, what's going on, Captain? And I finally got to meet Troy all the way down from Canada. Last week was a busy week here in Massachusetts. We had the Boston Classic, 17U, 16U. We had the show ball events, 2 camps, 2 days each. So a lot of college coaches, a lot of families in town. Some of you I missed, some of you I got to see. But it was a great week of baseball last week, and really got a chance to spend some time with not only the families and student athletes, but as well as the college coaches. And that's what we're going to discuss here today. And so we're going to start. And I want to let everybody know I'm going to kind of save it to the end because I don't want to start with the older athletes and work my way down. I'd like to start with the younger athletes and work our way up. A lot of questions that come in during the last 7 to 10 days with regard to athletes that are in middle school. What type of opportunity should they begin to look or take a deeper look or interest in? What is happening with the freshmen and the sophomores within high school? And then obviously the rising juniors and seniors as it relates to travel baseball. So I want to start by letting everyone know I first and foremost sincerely appreciate people finding me and coming up to me, whether it be in a parking lot or in the ballpark. It really is, I'm humbled, and I deeply appreciate those of you that, find their way to say hello, as well as send me messages, especially via YouTube. I try to answer everyone to the best of my ability, also via email. The biggest area that I would like to kind of lay down the foundation for is I want everyone to understand I do not have an axe to grind with travel baseball. Travel baseball is definitely a part of the youth baseball experience, one I am familiar with as a parent, also as a coach. But there are changes going on. And I think parents, the better informed that you can be earlier in your processes, I think the better decisions you will be able to make. I want to start also by saying that anything that I am sharing, both as my opinion as well as a collaborative of data that I've been able to collect from chatting and spending time with the coaches. There's certainly no negative takeaways. There's certainly no one that is trying to upset or hurt anyone's feelings or be disrespectful of any student athletes or their families, desire to play college athletics. But I want to make sure that I am truthful and I am honest. And so that's where I would like to start. Many middle school parents and student athletes, and I'm talking about ages 12 to 14, possibly 15, I think in light of the changes that are currently being implemented, that I will discuss in greater detail here in a second, I think it's really becoming very clear that those years should be really a deeper look into strength, conditioning, keeping things local. I will be completely honest and candid. I did that with both of my sons. I'm certainly not trying to script a process for you as parents or student athletes, but 12, 13 through 14 or 15, you're going to derive greater benefits from strength training, nutrition, sleep, things that are going to allow your child, your son, your student athlete to get faster, to get stronger, to learn about their body and how to develop their body. I've done it now with so many student athletes, not only from the greater New England area, but now across the country, Mississippi, Louisiana, where it really was a focus post Little League or a smaller diamond to get their bodies to be bigger. And then when they get to be 15, they actually pass or surpass those athletes that may have had an earlier growth spurt, a better skill set earlier at the younger ages. Cannot emphasize that enough. And that would lead me into the freshman, sophomore, junior classes at the high school level. And we'll call that the rising freshmen, the rising sophomores, and rising juniors. Almost to a man, every college coach that I was able to speak with at the showcases, I spent 4 days there at Tufts University with approximately 80 college coaches in attendance, the vast majority of which were head coaches. And the number one thing that was clearly evident before anybody fielded the ground ball or swung a bat or threw a pitch was that they lacked physical strength. They lacked that kind of that width, that density in their shoulders, their lower half. And in light of these recent changes that we're going to be discussing here in a few minutes, it's just clearly obvious that, when you're looking at a 20 to 22-year-old man, the high school athlete is at a severe disadvantage. And so each college coach, when I polled them, and I polled a great deal of them, and the question was, what was the top 5 characteristics that they are looking for with regard to, their recruiting? And I'm just going to read a few of the responses. And, when I'm looking at them, and the first thing is work ethic. Work ethic is clearly shown. Your calling card is your body. Your calling card is your foot speed, your arm strength. But that is part of a physically developing athlete. So, that is something that stands out. And I'm just reading them off of my phone. The next one is, I really believe, is skill set or ability. And if we're talking about skill set development, who is that the responsibility of? I get a lot of text messages and direct messages via social media that parents and student athletes are telling me that travel programs are saying, hey, we don't have time for individual attention. When we get together, it's more of a team practice, a focus on the team. And I get that. You have space and time restrictive parameters. And so the individual development, that onus falls on the athlete and to find that time to go out and really brush up your skill sets. Whether it's, the myriad of different things that I've suggested in the past. You can take tee work, you can take self-toss, you can play wall ball, you can play catch with your family, friends. but you have to begin to brush up on your skill. We're not practicing enough as individuals. We've become too reliant or too regulated by the lesson parameters, i.e., 30, 60-minute lessons. And we don't control the tempo. We obviously don't control the repetitions. And so the skill set is something that a lot of coaches are noticing. And that leads into the third one, which is baseball IQ. And I get this question all the time. Baseball IQ, what does it mean? And when you go to a camp, sometimes coaches are asking you questions to see what it is that you really understand or comprehend, within the sport. Overheard one conversation where a college coach is asking a student athlete, okay, it's the bottom of the ninth, our team is down by 2 runs, you're leading off. What is your mindset as a 3-hole hitter leading off an inning down by 2? And they're really looking for things like getting on base any way I can, taking a strike, forcing the pitcher to throw strikes. So if the count is 3-1, I want to make sure I make him throw a 3-2 pitch. Things like that are what college coaches are looking for. Next, out of all of these younger athletes, the character component, meaning how you're wearing a uniform, how you're presenting yourself on the field, how you're interacting with, obviously, if you're at a showcase, strangers, how are you interacting with coaches? How are you interacting during your time at the showcase? Are you spending a lot of time in the stands with family or talking to people, or are you really focused on your reps? Are you really focused on showing your ability, things of that nature? So, these are the discussion points from college coaches, and almost all of them, when I'm talking to them, are stressing we want the younger student athletes to be focusing more on their bodies and their development, on their skill. And then as they get older, really beginning to, take that strength and really showcase it out on the playing field. I think we're going to start to see changes within travel ball. I would like to see, if I had a magic wand, multiple ages competing against each other. 13 and 14 against 15 and 16s and 17s and 18s. That's the least that we should be trying to do. I get a lot of people that want to tear me in two when I start talking about Babe Ruth and American Legion in high school. But the bottom line is those models are similar to what awaits you at the varsity high school level and the college levels and beyond. You're playing against younger and older students. And so when you go out into these camps and into these showcases, college coaches are looking like, how would this guy fit in? And the question that I have for parents is, how many practices, college practices, are you actually watching, observing? How many college or professional games are you watching? How much baseball are you watching? And I think we're so focused on trying to play travel baseball all over the country. If we live in the Northeast, we want to go down to Georgia and Florida and out to Arizona. We don't have to do those things necessarily on a regular basis. I understand that they are exciting, but at the same point, are they getting us to the desired destinations? That's the one thing we have to be able to begin to ask ourselves. I think my biggest takeaway as an observer with no skin in the game is I don't see the energy. I see a lot of very tight, very conservative groups of student athletes trying to go out into a camp environment, and there's not a lot of fluid athleticism that's on display. There's not a lot of confidence. There's not a lot of aggression. And I think that can be attributed to, when the eyeballs are actually on you, if you're at a high school game or you're at your local travel ball game, there probably isn't going to be 70 or 80 head college coaches with notebooks and radar guns and cameras focused on your game. And so when that does occur, we, as young athletes, will tighten up. And so the questions that I'm starting to get from parents are, it's kind of like not transferring, because when he's in the cage or he's at home or he's in high school, he's really, really good. And then it doesn't translate, whether it comes out of a lesson or comes out of a local league. And we have to understand baseball is a sport, rooted in failure, but we have to have some sort of aggression, and confidence definitely plays a part in that. So let's get to the big elephant in the room. And, I want parents to understand I'm not trying to be the bearer of bad news, but I do want to begin to answer some of these questions for you. So I'm looking at, okay, I'm going to start up here. The 2026 and 2027 class. I have one massive piece of advice, and that is your world, good, bad, or indifferent, is going to look a lot different than it has ever looked or will ever look ever again at the college baseball level. And if you're really being honest with yourselves as parents and as student athletes, we really need to understand that college baseball is going to have fewer roster spots. The new legislation might reduce the number of schools that are offering the sport of baseball, particularly at the Division I level. We may see the emergence of more Division II or Division III NCAA programs. But the 2026 and 2027s, they're really not going to be aggressively recruited in both the current college baseball landscape as well as the near future, the relative near future. And by that, I mean starting in the late fall of 2025 and into the spring of 2026. If you are a parent or a student athlete that is a 2026 high school graduate and you're highly anticipating August 1st, I would not be disappointed if you do not get the amount of calls that you were hoping, or if you do not get any calls at all. My suggestion and my advice to the 26s and 27s would be to get in the weight room. Spend your time, resources, efforts in getting bigger, faster, stronger. Don't look for a magic pill. Do not look for a gidget or a gadget, or more importantly, a guru. Look to put yourself in a time management type of program. Start to think, act, and be accountable as a future college student athlete. Don't wait for people to become active with you. Be proactive with regard to your development, with regard to your skill sets. It is going to be a very, very long road. If you are the parent of a 2024 or 2025, in the 2024s, unfortunately, in some cases, you may find yourself on the outside looking in. In fact, some 2024s have already been contacted and told that they will not have a roster spot at school. If they had signed an LOI, the scholarship would be honored for 1 year, but there would be no roster spot for baseball. If you're a 2025, you're still being actively recruited, and college coaches are slowing the processes down. The biggest change that is about to become reality. Currently, there are 303 Division I NCAA programs. The vast majority have had 40 or more roster spots. In the fall, they may have 50 to as many as 60 between walk-ons, red shirts, transfers, JUCO transfers, trying to find their way to a Division One program. Many programs encourage that competition. They want to engage in that competition. It makes their team environment better. The new rule that is about to be implemented is going to call for a firm cap, a firm roster cap. Now, this is coming from really very trusted resources. This is not make believe. This is not a fire drill. This is actually going to happen. The hard cap will be somewhere between 33 and 35. Obviously, schools are probably fighting for the higher number, of 35. But when I say firm roster cap at the Division One level, that means there will be no developmental team, no JV team, no red shirts, no walk-ons. Your fall roster will be firm. It'll be capped, and it will be capped for the 2025-2026 season, the 2026-2027, so forth and so on. So if you thought the transfer portal was currently filled, we have not seen anything yet, because you're about to, and I attribute this, and I know that social media, the Richmond Braves program had said something like this on social media, and it's very accurate. So if teams were carrying 40 players, in some cases more, with red shirts, gray shirts, those players have to find new homes. And if you take 8 times 300, that's approximately 2,400 Division One athletes that are about to be sent into the portal or looking for new homes. And so parents, we need to understand this. We need to know what this is all about. We're kind of all running ragged, and we're thinking like, my son's going Division One, my son's going Division One. Who's telling you that? A. And B, how do you know that unless you are being actively recruited by a Division One program? Why do you think that your sons are going to Division One? And there's going to be a lot of student athletes that are going through NCAA 2 and 3 schools, NAIA schools, obviously junior college. But let's look at the MLB draft that just took place. You as a parent should go through the Major League draft and look how many high school students were drafted, how many college athletes were drafted. This shift is more about MLB in Congress, United States Congress, standing up and trying to fight through this antitrust, and whereas athletes have more ability to earn and generate or participate in the income that gets generated. And so a lot of colleges are going to have to make some very difficult decisions. More importantly, a lot of college baseball programs are going to have to make some very difficult decisions. This date of the Major League Draft, July 25th, we still have coaches that are leaving programs and taking new positions, thus more athletes going into the portal. July 25th is the Major League Draft signing deadline, and college coaches will anxiously await that day to find out, are they losing players that were drafted? Are any of the JUCO or transfers that were supposedly coming to campus but were drafted, are they going to forego the draft and come to college? Those few high school athletes, are they going to come to campus? Are they not going to come to campus? And then after that, probably within 30 days of July 25th, you're going to start to see a lot of student athletes be let go, cut, released, whatever word we want to use. And they're going to be in the portal, and they're going to be looking for new homes. So that is just an absolute fact of what the realities are going forward. And I want to for Sarah, there will be any changes that are coming out now are going to be in effect for the duration, for the future. I don't foresee, there will be changes. Schools will change in some cases from Division One, maybe down to Division Two or Division Three. Some schools will eliminate baseball. I don't think that's going to be a widely held, but there will be schools that will give up baseball. And all of this is why the business people within youth baseball have been scurrying about starting these post-grad schools, these baseball academies, and all the parents have heard or read, what I've thought or whatever. But those people knew that this type of legislation would ultimately be happening. And so now, if you're a 2024, or in some cases a 2025, and you're not being recruited, and you still have a deep passion and desire to play college baseball, and you really want to kind of find your way, you're going to seek out this gap year. And I don't want to go down that rabbit hole. I'm a big fan of trading athletic ability for academic excellence. And, I want to make sure perfectly clear, my oldest son was not what I would call a strong student, but he utilized baseball to get 2 college degrees, a 2 and a 4-year degree. And so, to whatever level of academic acumen you may have, I'm not strictly saying, trade athletic ability to go to Harvard. I'm just saying use baseball to have and enjoy a collective college experience. And I think that's very, very important for parents to understand. And so you're going to see the postgraduates academies, the baseball academies, get very aggressive. They're going to be a lot of advertising, anywhere from 20 to as high as, if we're talking about the school in Florida, that's upwards of $90,000 to $100,000. This is a massive business, this industry as a whole. And I really want parents to understand these changes are not meant to intimidate. My discussion of these changes is not meant to intimidate or to bully or to sound negative in any way about the industry of youth sports. It's just, here's our new reality, and we need to have discussion and opinion. And I want parents to know that travel baseball from 12 to 15, if we're averaging $4,000 to $5,000, I feel like I'm being kind. If I'm talking about a 12-month budget, $4,000 to $5,000 times 4 years, you're talking about anywhere from $12,000 to $20,000. Do I think travel baseball at those ages is worth it? No, I do not. Not even a little bit. I think you get a much bigger bang for your dollar if you're in the weight room and you're really focused on learning about how to develop your body and playing locally, in a 13 to 14-year-old Babe Ruth league or junior little league or junior American Legion. And yes, I feel strongly about that. If you're the parent of a 15 to say 17-year-old, a rising junior in high school, should you be attending showcases or camps? I don't believe you should. Is travel baseball something that you should pursue? Yes, but I don't believe there's anything necessary at the 15U level. Like if you're a 15-year-old, you should be playing 16U baseball. At some point, we have to call it what it is. And, if you're playing 15U, you're just delaying the inevitable. At some point, you have to play against the big boys. You have to see what it's like to see the fastball, to feel the ball come off a bat as a third baseman coming off hot. You have to want to compete against bigger, faster, stronger athletes. At some point, we have to take the gloves off and really go out there and compete at that level. And so now knowing that college baseball is permanently going to be older, as I alluded to in a few other discussions, college hockey is older for the most part. Are there exceptions? Absolutely. There are elite 18-year-olds. In fact, one just won the Hobie Baker Award. There are elite 18-year-olds that can find their way to SEC, ACC, Big 10, Big 12, Ivy League type programs. But those are the exceptions. They're certainly not the rule. So I think it's going to require us to have more of dialogue to really understand the benefit of kind of focusing more on seeing what it looks like, going to these college practices, going to minor league games, go to a junior college game. Heck, if you're a middle school guy, go to a varsity baseball game and go see what those student athletes look like. What do they play like? What does it sound like? Watch the speed of the game. And I have a lot of parents that ask, is high school baseball worth it? And so high school baseball, as well as travel baseball, you're only as good as the quality of coaching that you're receiving. And so it's really incumbent upon parents to ask more questions. Don't assume based on what previous years has produced. Now, with the new way of the world, who is helping navigate, who's discussing lesson plans, practice plans, find out what the practices are going to be about. You have to ask more questions. What is the quality of the coaches? Who are the coaches? What is the background of the coaches? High school baseball coaches are not the bad guy. Are there exceptions? Yes. Has this been going on for decades? Yes. But just as many bad high school coaches, there are bad travel coaches, bad travel programs. All travel programs will tell you, and for the most part, I believe they genuinely want to be developing athletes. But when they have multiple teams per age group, that's a hard pass for me as a parent or as someone that's been around a long time. Questions? Andrew, I have, and I will not answer that question here. Do you think there's a chance for the transfer portals could change, athletes having to sit out a year? I think there will be some changes with regard to the portal. I think that's going to be slower than these hard cap numbers. But I think there will be some new legislation passed with regard to the portal. I don't think they want as many athletes to be in the portal multiple times. Also, name, image, and likeness and those types of topics with regard to compensation for athletes, that's here to stay. These hard cap numbers at the Division Ones are going to be full tuition, room, and board, also going to be name, image, and likeness. So athletes are going to be compensated while they are in college. And for the gentleman that just asked me about recruiting services, I want to be crystal clear on this. Recruiting services that are dealing with multiple sports and multiple athletes. I just, I know about all the different ones that are out there. I'm not going to pass judgment on you as an individual or your capability. I'm just saying to you, as it pertains to baseball recruiting, there's a new sheriff in town, and it's going to affect all levels of the NCAA. I can tell you that the JUCO levels are going to be flush with elite talent. They're getting access to talent that they never had access to before. And I'm talking to a lot of, the Jeff Major and, the Jeff Willises at LSU Eunice and the San Jacintos and the Blinn and the Chipola at Gloucester in New Jersey. These JUCO programs are getting inundated with elite talent for student athletes that want to play at the professional level or higher levels of Division I. And I believe, my opinion only, a lot of Division I schools will have working relationships, for lack of a better term, with the junior college programs because of this hard cap number. If you have a guy that's fringy and he's developing and you don't, you want to keep him engaged in your program, and he's going to go to a junior college, and that junior college is going to help coach and develop him, that's going to be the reality going forward. Also, NAIA programs, they're going to become highly sought after. Their rules are not as stringent, and they can try out. Athletes can actually go to those NAIA campuses and actually work out for the coaches. My point is, and I want to just kind of finish up on that recruiting service. I'm not anti-recruiting service. All I want to tell parents is your money is better placed, focused on your development of your student athlete, waiting and holding off on that until the junior or senior year. You want to be with people that have access to the complete process, meaning academic orientated prep / boarding postgraduate schools that offer elite academics that can help with regard to placement. That's what basketball has done for decades. Football, soccer, lacrosse, obviously hockey, and now baseball is permanently into that environment. I think it's important for parents to understand what used to be the norm is no longer the norm. The travel programs and organizations that are, they have one age, they have one team in that age group of 14U and 16U, and it's a collaborative of 13 and 14-year-olds or 15 and 16-year-olds. They put together a good staff. There's a catching coach, a pitching coach, etc. There's good off-season practice schedules and facilities, amenities that are made available. Obviously, those are really great, especially in cold weather environments where you don't have access to outside fields or outside amenities, for batting practice and throwing, etc. But, the teams that have 3 teams per age group, what is that accomplishing? But my bigger point here is it is clearly evident that the athletes that are showing up at some of these showcases, they're not ready for what truly lies ahead. Somebody has to be able to say to parents and student athletes, hey, you're not ready yet. You need to really get in the weight room. You need to get stronger. You need to get faster. Your skill set really needs to be enhanced. It needs to be developed. If you're playing 80 games or 60 games, and that happened this year, at a couple of tournaments, you're traveling hundreds, if not thousands of miles, and you end up playing a team that is your neighboring team in the championship. Okay, I mean, that's a coincidence, but I mean, at the end of the day, are you better off getting more practice reps in? Are the games being attended by the college coaches? The answer to that question is not as much as they used to. Now, everybody pitches back and says, well, we got lots of college coaches here. Okay, but they're not as plentiful as they have been in the past. They're not as aggressive with the younger athletes as they have been in the past, nor are they going to be anytime in the immediate future. It's very hard to balance to find a kid who's really passionate. It's overwhelming as a parent wanting to do the best thing. Now, this is, okay, London and Julia. And I'm going to answer Julia's question first. Andrew and Kate, I see you. Kate, I'm going to get to your question. First of all, Julia, when you have a very passionate, and every parent, I am a parent. My children now are 33 and 31. They were very passionate about the sport. We lived in Greater Boston. We lived in the Northeast. I get it. When you have a passionate child that wants to participate and play baseball at the college level, to have that as part of their college experience, my number one piece of advice is to be where you are wanted as opposed to where you want to go. And so if you're finding that there are coaches, other levels, other divisions, I get it. Everybody would like to play at the big name, bright lights, big schedules, television, all that good stuff. But in reality, you want to play, you want to participate, you want to share in that experience. I can tell you as a college head coach, it's the best 4 years on a variety of different levels over and above athletics of a young student's college life is being a college athlete. So go where you are wanted, seek out opportunities and seek out, both academic and athletic opportunities, whether it's Division II, Division III, Division I. Always try to find the coaching staff that has seen your child. And passion is good, and everybody should strive to become the best they can be. Sometimes it's getting out in college summer baseball and somebody sees you and they want you to be at their program. And now with the portal, that tends to happen a lot. London, our postgraduate program is going to be norm, in your opinion? Yes. 1,000% yes. Postgraduate programs in the Northeast and Mid-Atlantic have been around for centuries. They are not new. They play a major role with regard to recruiting in basketball, college basketball, college football, Bridgeton Academy, Milford Academy in basketball. I could rattle off a Cushing Academy in hockey. These have been around a while, but now the baseball academies that are calling themselves Postgrad are basically runways filling up with athletes that have no room at the inn presently and are hoping to find their way into a program with an extra year of physical and mental or academic maturity. Many scouts and college coaches are getting paid to be there and not just there because they are looking for players. That's a fact. I do think that they like to be there to see players, but that is a fact. They are paid to be there, but they are recruiting to the best of their ability if there are athletes there to be recruited. If there are, no athletes, they're certainly not going to chase athletes that are not appealing to them. Do you see the benefit of a 2026 junior to attend 1 to 3 college camps? Okay, college camps are much different than showcases. So Eli, I'm going to answer your question first. Showcases. If you're a junior, rising junior or rising senior, yes, showcases can be beneficial if you have something to be evaluated. If you have a tool or a skill that is average to above average or projectable, yes, showcases. But if you have no foot speed, if you have no arm strength, if you have no power with the bat, if you don't throw a fastball above 80, if you don't run a 7-second 60, and you want to be a middle infielder, the facts are that the vast majority of Division I, Division II, Division III athletes, not pitchers or catchers or first baseman, they run a sub 760. Unless you can hit balls 400 feet, foot speed plays a role in your position and your opportunity to get between the lines as a student athlete. College camps. Don't just show up to a generic college camp. No, is this a college that I would be interested in if I wasn't playing baseball, meaning geographically, academically? Also, are there going to be other schools at the camp to get more bang for your buck? For instance, Stanford, Richmond, I'm just rattling these off. They have college coaches from all over Division II, Division III, JUCO, etc. And so those coaches are working the camp. They get to see you, and then in turn, you get to increase your opportunities or options. So college camps, don't just think, well, I want to go to this school, so therefore I'm going to go to that camp. Do I have a realistic opportunity to play at this school? Has somebody evaluated my skill sets and would refer me to this college coach as a potential player or student athlete at that program? If the answers to those questions are yes, then you want to go to that college camp. Can't stress this enough, whether it's a showcase or a camp, make sure you have skill sets that you want to have evaluated and seen. There's a big difference between exposure and exposed. So just remember that. And so I want to get back up here to Andrew Ryan. And so Andrew, I want to really hammer this point home. I don't know if people can see the questions on the side. I'm not picking on recruiting services. I do not do or operate a recruiting service. I am not in that realm. I am a consultant. I am a guide, but I am on a much different level within this process. I help a lot of parents, a lot of families. I answer a lot of direct messages. Recruiting services that are going to essentially, and when I say recruiting service, I want to cover the social media, pumpers, hypers. The days of hyping somebody on Twitter and trying to promote somebody via Twitter and sending videos to coaches, or just promoting somebody's video from an event or a tournament, those days are over. College coaches want to see it in the flesh. They want to get an idea of who the young man is. They're not going to do somebody a solid or do somebody a favor and take somebody. Not in the world of roster caps. No can do. They can't do that anymore. They won't be able to do that. And this, even though we're talking at the Division I level, the Division IIs and IIIs are going to be loaded with athletes. And they're great programs. NESCAT, Ithaca, Salisbury, Ohio Wesleyan, Marietta, John Hopkins, Newport News, all of those great Division III programs, they are loaded with dudes. They have great athletes. Nobody's just going to take somebody because a recruiting service is recommending them based on an email. Coaches need to see athletes up close. They need to know about their character, about their work ethic, about their mindset, about their baseball IQ. What is their drive? What are they passionate about? Are they a we guy or a me guy? Will there always be recruiting services? Yes, there will. Will there always be showcases? Yes, there will. The bottom line, as is the case in any other industry, there are some that are better than others, and there are really great ones. But oh, by the way, there are some really crummy ones. You have to really approach this with a buyer beware. I get asked all the time. I wear the baseball blue book. I get the baseball blue book. The baseball blue book's been around for over 100 years. 100 years. I used it as a kid. It's a resource. When I tell parents about the yellow pages, it used to be, hey, I want to look up who the scout is in my area for the Yankees. Okay, that's Matt Hyde. And this is where he recruits out of, or he scouts. Hey, this is the college coach. Heck, college coaches are changing jobs all the time. Parents, you can undertake a lot of this yourself and be proactive rather than reactive. Do you want to send your videos to a service and then they're going to email bomb hundreds of college coaches and say, hey, here's a third baseman, outfielder, 7'4", 60. Those things just don't hold up anymore. And so what is my takeaway? Why even have this? What is the purpose of me doing this Q&A? One, when I'm talking to people within baseball, they all say the same thing. Athletes are not focused on their bodies. They're not focused on their skill. They're not focusing on their baseball IQ. They're dependent upon other people other than themselves. Coaches across all levels want to hear directly from student athletes and not, services, not parents. If it's a baseball scout, like a real MLB scout, if it's a former head coach, if it's a high school coach, somebody that knows the student athlete over and above just the baseball, they want to hear from those people. What type of person is he? What type of an individual is he? Is he someone that is going to be a team we plus and be very involved, engaged, and celebratory in his teammates' successes? Or is he strictly a me guy? Those are the types of things that are going to begin to shape themselves in a much different way now with this hard cap. And parents need to understand when this rule gets implemented, and it is going to be implemented for the 2025-2026 season, you're going to see a lot of athletes being cast aside and sent off to other programs, to other divisions. And I think that that's important information, because this is not something that is a year or two away. And so I see all these families and these athletes running full speed, and they don't see the wall that is clearly, definitively in front of them. And it's not just the 2024s or the 2025s. It's the 2026s that on August 1st think the bells are going to go off. And for some of you, it will, but it might not be to the degree that you think it will be. And so when you're going out and you're trying to showcase your abilities, what are you showcasing? What is it? What type of information are you giving to these college coaches? And I think it's time for candor. I think it's time for honesty. And I think it's time to really understand it's not a right. It is not a given. In other words, it is not a passage like, oh, by the way, I play for a team that has sent X number of players to college or MLB draft. Therefore, it is my time. It is my right. It's not how this works. It is an honor. It is a privilege. It is an opportunity that you must take advantage of. But most importantly, be prepared when your feet hit campus. As parents, as student athletes, can you honestly look in the mirror and say, my son is a high school senior, and he is preparing and he is prepared to be a college caliber, not Division I, a college caliber student athlete? Does he have time management skills? Is he waking up 15 minutes before he has to get up and go to school? Or is he getting up early and preparing a breakfast? Is he getting the proper sleep? Is he getting 8 to 10 hours? This is something that you don't want to begin that your freshman year when you get on campus and you think, okay, here I go. It's college baseball. It looks nothing like high school baseball. You must get out to see a college practice in the fall. I don't care if it's a junior college, a local college, a Division II, Division III, NAIA, Division I. Go watch a practice. Go listen to the tone. Go listen to the messages. Go see the repetitions they're taking. Are you getting those repetitions? Are you preparing for that environment? Are you going to be prepared physically and, most importantly, mentally? It requires mental toughness, mental discipline. Are you prepared to hear constructive criticism? Are you prepared to hear any criticism? Are you prepared to be coached? College is going to provide an opportunity. You need to be prepared to take advantage of that opportunity. That is the message that needs to ring out loud and clear. It's nobody's fault. There are no bad guys. People look to create opportunities, to provide options. Some are better than others, but the realities are that Division I baseball will be approximately 24 to possibly as many as 3,000 less student athletes participating. If they were good enough to be considered at the Division I level, they're probably going to find their way to Division II or Division III opportunities. If they're freshmen and still have the opportunity to go to a JUCO, they'll find their way to JUCOs. Also, the older athletes, they have incentives to stay in college longer. They're earning money. Their scholarships are getting paid in full. They're going to be Title IX consequences. There are going to be less colleges that will offer baseball, maybe not right away, but over a period of time. These are the topics we need to be discussing. These are the questions that should be asked. And I think it's important to have a resource or resources. And I think that's why we have these discussions. If a college coach if a college coach is following you on Twitter, should you reach out to them? You should reach out to them. You should know that they cannot reach out to you if you're contacted by a Division I coach. August 1st of until your rising junior year, they cannot have a they can't have a dialogue or any interaction unless you're at their camp or on their campus. Division II and Division III, they operate under slightly similar rules. Their dates are a little different. Same with NAIA. NAIA contact rules are vastly different. They do offer tryouts, and you can work out for coaches at the NAIA. Parents, here's my biggest discussion point. I know we'd all love to play Division I, and Division I is obviously the dream, and I'm a big fan of never telling an athlete what they're not capable of doing. I always want to be honest and tell you that college baseball is it's filled with 1,000 teams across all of NAIA and NCAA, and take advantage of the options that could be in your general geographical area. Look to make baseball a part of your college experience. The game of baseball is beautiful. I love it to death. I've loved it since I've been a little boy. But the business of baseball can be and is difficult. It is difficult, and it is cold-hearted. It leaves it's not for the meek of mind or heart. And it's nothing personal. It's just business. You've heard that line time and time again. And I want to let parents know, whole purpose of the channel is just to open up a dialogue. And I'm not going to have all the answers, but I can find somebody that might be able to help us get an answer or provide insight. This is why we talk to college coaches. This is why in the fall, Coach Serrano and myself, we're going to start talking to guidance people, academic advisors for athletic programs, admissions offices, financial aid offices. We're going to talk to these people that are a part of your college experience. And I don't like, and I'm also going to, and which is I'm really excited about, going to bring on every other week Tamara Seaman. Tamara is a mental performance coach, and she's worked with a few athletes that I've referred her to, and they're having seeing tremendous results. That's a part of athletics. And we don't talk about that enough, the mental strength, the mental health, the weight of expectations, or trying to keep up with athletes that are kind of surpassing us in some capacity, whether it's skill or physicality, et cetera. A lot of athletes need to have a resource, and we're going to do that twice a month during the fall and in through the off season to provide families that type of a resource. It's free. It's all free. And so just by coming to the YouTube channel or following me and subscribing, it's just free. I like to do it. It's something that I enjoy doing. For those parents that have texted me, of which there are many, I want to let you know that travel baseball, I want to answer this question while we're live. When you have multiple teams, okay, let's just take an age group. Let's just use 14U, and you have 3 14-year-old teams. Okay, what's getting accomplished there? Does each of those teams, is the talent and the coaching equal? Is everything the exact same? Are you playing the exact same schedule? The reality is that there are going to be cuts. You do have to have skill to play the sport. If you're creating a team because you don't want to cut anybody, let's be honest, the money's really good. So if we're going to be honest and we're going to be candid, if you have 3 teams, yeah, I know you have a big heart, but if everybody's paying X amount of dollars times 15, 60,000 times 3, that's a lot of money. So we have to call it what it is. At the end of the day, I want to tell you that travel baseball has a place for young athletes. It has a role within college baseball. But it is no longer you're going from high school directly to college. In hockey, there's the junior league. And in basketball, football, there's the postgraduate. College baseball now is on par. There's the postgraduate. So you're going to have a lot of athletes that are running really hard. There's no room at the end. They're all going to start piling into these baseball academies, and they're all going to be coming from travel teams. And let's face it, travel baseball creates parents looking for return on investment. Return on investment. What is return on investment? You paid all this money. You've gone to these schools. You've gone to these programs. My son has to find a home. Your son has to find a home if he's really working and looking early. I have student athletes when they were 12. They weren't generally good. I wasn't good at 12. My point is they're in the weight room. And now at 15, they've passed all the Little League All-Stars. They've passed all the travel ball 12U, 13U, 14U guys. They've played at 13 against 14 and 15-year-olders. And no, they didn't get hurt. That narrative is weak. And you should not be told that your child at 13 cannot participate against a 15-year-older. Now, I'm not saying to throw them out at the hot corner and just take ground ball after ground ball. But guess what? If that athlete is looking to play in high school, what are you going to tell him at 15 when he's facing an 18-year-older? At some point, we got to see it. At some point, we got to live it. At some point, we have to raise the wire from 2 feet off the ground to 20 feet off the ground. And that has to come at 13 through 15 and 16 through 19. And the step model or the business model of 13U, 14U, 15U, 16U, 17U, it's not developing baseball players. It's a great business model. It's a miserable baseball model. So going forward, that's the news. That's the whole process. The hard cap is definitely a reality. It will be implemented for the 25-26 season and beyond. It is going to throw a lot of athletes into the portal. It is going to create a log jam. This is not COVID log jam. This is just the new log jam. College coaches are going to be much more selective. They're going to take their time. And if they're going to be patient, athletes and parents, you have to be patient. But most of all, you have to have a plan. A plan entails getting a movement screen, kinesiologist, professionally certified, academically orientated strength trainer. Get somebody to work on foot speed. Get somebody to work on nutrition. Find someone to be able to get you some practice repetitions. Make sure you're focused and you're taking accountability for your development. Take accountability for your recruiting. Be communicating with college coaches. I am going to do a video on how to write the email prior to the junior fall. I also am going to do a college camp, what to look for, when to attend the college camps. Again, they're free. You just have to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell, and then when I do the videos and get them released, you get to watch them for free. And that's the only thing that I can do for families. So I want to say thank you to everybody that's just texted me. I want to say thank you to everybody that's sent me a message. I want to say particularly, I want to make sure I don't. Sarah, yes, Sarah Antonelli, D1 programs, as of right now, the rule is for Division I. I don't foresee a cap in Division II, but bear in mind that Division III and Division II, they may have JV programs, they may have developmental programs. I don't believe Division I is going to be paying athletes or doing the 32 to 35 full scholarships. I don't think that's going to make its way. At least I know it's not going to make its way to Division III. But Division I college baseball will be unilaterally capped, and all college programs, all college conferences will have the ability to enter into that program, or I believe they'll have the ability to kind of step back and not be an active part of that. But there is going to be a hard cap. That is definitely coming. Aaron, I answered that question. Cade, I already answered that question for you. If you're doing a post-grad year as a 2024, you will have greater opportunities in 2025 because you'll be physically and mentally mature. Your grades, you'll be more in line with what the college coaches are looking for. Sarah, I don't see any changes going forward for 28. I do think there'll be more rules implemented after the cap with regard to name, image, and likeness. Also, college earning opportunities. I think, and also portal rules will be structured a little bit differently. I do not think the pro division and mid-major division will be supplemented, Jeff, for the 24-25 season. But the 25-26 season, I do. I think that's definitely going to be happening. Also, I get a lot of people that are asking me about late bloomers. Late bloomers, this is like the biggest gift from the baseball gods that you could be given. Coaches are big fans of the late bloomers. They love to see them, particularly the guys that are multi-sport athletes. If you're being told to forego other sports, if you're being told to walk away from your high school team, I strongly disagree with that. You can only be a child once, and I believe high school, you're still a child. Play as many sports. If you love those sports, play them. Participate with your friends. Be an active participant in your high school experience as a whole. College baseball, you can learn a lot about yourself as an athlete with regard to foot speed, agility, mental makeup, and mindset. You know, whether it's football, lacrosse, soccer, basketball, etc. There's something to be said for being athletic, and multiple sport athletes tend to have that trait. Do not give up high school baseball for travel sports. Don't fall for that. You'll regret that later on in life. And that's it. I think I got everybody's questions that have been asked, and I appreciate everybody taking the time to join me tonight. I know I overstayed my welcome. I really hope that you as parents, you as athletes, can really begin to open your mind, step back, widen your lens. Don't be so in here with regard to the conference and the level and the opportunity. Step back, widen it out, take a look over the next 5 to 10 years as opposed to 1 year. Think about what is going to be important in your life over the next 5 to 10 years. Postgraduate offers a wonderful opportunity for that one moment in your life to still maintain being a kid, but to still make yourself better mentally, physically, and preparing for the rigors of college academics and college athletics. Really make sure you're making good decisions for the 5-year and 10-year version of yourself, not just your freshman year in college. Widen that lens, take a bigger, broader look. And if I can be of help in any capacity, please feel free to continue to send your questions. I'll do the best that I can. And if you have a specific question, you can direct message me or send me a message via email, which is on the YouTube channel. I'd like to thank everybody. Please take your time, learn, and have a great week, month, year in baseball.